Welcome to MDG Friends, I'm Ryan. We are doing Commander deck tech for Tevesh Szat's Doom of Fools and Vail Smasher the Fierce as two partners partnering up in this red-black shenanigans of Doom. Alright, so we got Sacrificial Lambs, ramp, draw, shenanigans of course, combo packages, removal, life gain, land, and graveyard. And of course we have a little sideboard, maybe board for budgetary swaps, considerations, etc. etc. Alright, so let's jump into the commanders and then get into these different packages. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to try to tease out Tevesh and utilize his mechanics of a +2, create 2 0/1 black throw creature tokens for sacrificing, of course. And it's +1, you may sacrifice another creature or planeswalker. If you do, draw 2 cards, then draw another card if the sacrifice permanent was a commander. And of course, we have some ramp in here so that we can get to that 5 mana cost of Tevesh so we can get that thing out pretty quickly and efficiently. And of course, Vail Smasher is a 3-drop, so we can get that out and start sacking that if we need for Tevesh. Okay. Alright, its ultimate, if you happen to get there, is pretty janky and pretty hilarious. It is gain control of all commanders, put all commanders from command zones onto the battlefield under your control. If you pull that off, just laugh, a little chuckle for you, because it is super funny. Tevesh Szat's Doom of Fools can be your commander, and it's got partner, as you already know. And now Vail Smasher the Fierce is how we get that red color in there, and it actually has some fun stuff itself. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, Vail Smasher the Fierce deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost to an opponent chosen at random. So it's mainly in here because of the partner aspect of it and because it's got that red pip. Alright, alright, let's jump into the zip packages, and we will start with Sacrificial Lambs. Alright, this is a great one that I wasn't super familiar with because I haven't run this on a lot of stuff, but it works really well in this build. Attrition, a 3-drop, 4 black, sacrifice creature, destroy target non-black creature. Of course, we got Bitterblossom, that oh so janky fun tribal enchantment fairy Bitterblossom. 2-drop at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and put a 1/1 black fairy rogue creature token with flying into play. So we can use this to sack for Tevesh or to do the sack mechanics for some of our removal that we have built into this 99. All right, Felden of the Third Path. It is a 3-drop. You tap for 3, create a token that's a copy of target creature card in your graveyard, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. You'll start seeing a little theme here. These are things we can sacrifice. Alright, Ghoul Caller Giza. This is from Jumpstart, a very interesting one. I cracked a pack in one of our episodes that actually had this. Sack another creature, create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Very cool. Goblin Assault for 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token with haste. Goblin creatures attack each turn if able. That's fine. And Grave Titan. It just seems like it needs that kind of a voice. It is Death Toucher 6-drop. Whenever Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, put 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. Loyal Apprentice for 2. Haste, and with Lieutenant at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, create a 1/1 color stop to artifact creature token with flying. That token gains haste until end of turn. Alright, lots of things we can sack. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you control no snakes, put a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. And it is a 2/2 body to boot. Alright, Reassembling Skeleton for 2. You can reanimate this thing for 2. Return a Reassembling Skeleton from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Just got some reanimation abilities. Sifter of Skulls for 4. It's an Eldrazi. I love me some Eldrazi cards. I think this is the only Eldrazi in this build. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token onto the battlefield. It has sacrifice this creature, add colors to your mana pool. Alright, oh, we got little Squee, the Immortal in here. It's a 3-drop in red. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. So mainly about casting it from your graveyard, folks. And we got Viscera Seer, or it's Viscera. I think it's Viscera. It's a 1-drop, 1/1, sacrifice creature, scry 1. All about that sacking. Sack, sack, sack. Woe Strider, right out of Theros Beyond Death. Whenever Woe Strider enters the battlefield, create a 1 white goat creature token, sacrifice another creature, scry 1. And it's really cool escape mechanics that came out of Theros Beyond Death. For 5, you can exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. Woe Strider escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So not only is it actually a decent body for you, it's got that sack mechanic that with a bonus of being able to scry and then being able to play this again. So it's a 2-for-1 deal. It's a really cool card, and maybe one you hadn't considered in sack mechanics. All right, we got Yahenni Undying Partisan for 3. It's a 2/2 vampire. Haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a 1/1 counter on Yahenni Undying Partisan. I almost said that wrong. Sacrifice another creature. Yahenni gains indestructible until end of turn. So this thing has got a lot going on with it, and you should definitely consider this card for any kind of sack deck you got going on, because it buffs itself, becomes indestructible, yada 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 yada. All right, we are into our lands package. So Agadeem's Awakening out of Zendikar Rising, just a great modal card in terms of having a land on one side for black mana, and on the other side it's a sorcery. You turn from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost X or less. Just a great bolt land. Bolt land being that on the other side it can come in untapped as a land source for 3 damage. All right, Ancient Tomb. Of course, you're going to run Ancient Tomb. And obviously, budgetary swaps. You can swap this out for another dual land that comes in tapped, or just a basic land. You do not, of course, have to run this land. It's just a very good staple in any commander build. All right, Badlands. Oh, got that red-black, no downside dual land original gangster. You absolutely, of course, can swap this out for another dual land that doesn't cost you 300 and change. If you have it, run it. If you don't, obviously. All right, this one is absolutely brand new as of this recording out of Kaldheim, which is actually in preseason spoilers, but I knew it was coming and it came out for this episode. This is one of those modal lands in your hand for black red that you choose which one you put down. So you either play it as a red or you play it as a black. And what's great about this is that it comes in untapped. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Castle Locthwain. This is out of Eldraine. What a great set of castle cards. I love these in each color, but this is probably my favorite. It is the black version, and it's Castle Locthwain enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp, which you probably will. And then for 3, you can draw a card, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Boy, what a great utility card in Commander, because, you know, you start with 40 life. So getting hit for a few life because you're trying to refill your hand. 2 thumbs up, y'all. 2 thumbs up. Command Tower. Of course, you're going to run Command Tower. Dragonskull Summit are dual lands as well. It is Dragonskull Summit enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp or a mountain. War of the Spark. This is Karn's Bastion, and it is great for proliferate. There's a couple things we want to proliferate, and it's for 4. You proliferate. And in case you weren't familiar with what that is, choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there. So this will certainly help out for Tevesh and a couple other things we're running. Luxury Suite. This comes in untapped if you have more than 1 opponent. And this is out of Battle Bonds, but then it was also reprinted in Zendikar Rising. All right, moving on. All right, mountains. We happen to be running 9 in this particular build. Phyrexian Tower. This is add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or sack a creature, add black to your mana pool. Just a really good utility card for any time you're running sack, which we are doing in this build. All right, Reliquary Tower, specifically in here for Tevesh's mechanics, because if you're going to be drawing multiple cards like that, you don't want it to get out of hand, and this way you don't have to worry about that. You have no maximum hand size. Shatterskull Smashing, also out of Zendikar Rising. It's a red version of Agadeem's Awakening. This is Shatterskull Smashing, deals X damage divided as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. If X is 6 or more, Shatterskull Smashing deals twice X damage divided as you choose among them instead. Again, this is one of those dual modal cards where on one side you have a Bolt land where it can come in untapped for 3 damage, and on the other side is this sorcery. All right, Smoldering Marsh. This one is if you have 2 or more basic lands, it comes in untapped. Sulphurous Spring, another dual colored, add red-black to your mana pool, and it deals 1 damage to you. And then we're running 12 swamps in this iteration. And Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth just makes every land a swamp in addition to its other land types. All right, we are into ramp, but before we go into ramp, please, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you are new and or not, make sure you hit that like button, and also hit the alerts if you want to make sure you don't miss any of our content. And please, by all means, I'm pointing downwards so that you will put in comments. We will answer every single one of your comments you make. I promise, I promise, I promise. And moving on. All right, ramp. We're running the Signet. Of course we are. This is any color of your commander's color identity. Black Market for 5. Whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on Black Market. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add black for each charge counter on Black Market. This is just a fabulous, fabulous black ramp spell, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of sack mechanics. This is just incredible. And notice it says whenever a creature dies. That means on the board, your opponents, you, anywhere. So that's very, very bueno. Bueno. I was going to say beautiful and then awesome. And I came up with some other iteration where it almost sounded like I forgot how to speak the English language. Oh, man. Whew. Moving on. Curse of Opulence. It's a 1-drop enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. This one is so nasty. I've actually had a couple friends play this on me a few times, which made me think of it. It is whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a colorless artifact token named Gold. It has sacrificed this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. So, if you drop this on one opponent in particular, the other players are incentivized to start attacking them instead of you, which is pretty funny, pretty fun, and has a political piece to it, which is super fun. Super duper fun. All right, more ramp. We got Dockside Extortionist. Oh, just a very strong, dare I say, auto-include. Although, yes, I know. Multiple subscribers have told me whenever I say auto-include, they go, there's no such thing as auto-include. And yes, I agree. So, not quite auto-include, but darn close in red. Whenever Dockside Extortionist enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponent controls. Boy, so this thing can really ramp you up really incredibly. All right, Jeweled Lotus. If you've managed to get your hands on one of these, because it is still relatively new, it is sack Jeweled Lotus. Add 3 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast your commander. So this is definitely in here to tease out Tevesh as quickly as possible. And of course, you know, if you've already played your commander more than a couple times, this is just going to help you get that commander tax taken care of in a jiffy. And of course, if you don't have a Jeweled Lotus, just swap it out for a non-Jeweled Lotus. Mana Crypt. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Mana Crypt deals 3 damage to you. So, free Soul Ring for 2. Just costs you 3 damage if you lose the flip. No biggie. And of course, we got Pawn of Ulamog. It's a 3-drop. I only say this because it's got the sack mechanics. Whenever Pawn of Ulamog or another non-token creature you control dies, you may create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token. It has sacrifice this creature. Add colorless to your mana pool. So we're just teasing out extra mana here and there and everywhere. All right, Pitiless Plunderer. Arg, I love me pirates. It's a 4-drop human pirate 1/4. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Yes. We love these artifacts that get us mana. All right, of course, we got the signet for the Rakdos color iteration, and that is add black-red to your mana pool for 1. Then we have Soul Ring. Yes, of course, we have Soul Ring. And Talisman of Indulgence, the talisman of the Rakdos version. So this is add colorless, or for 1 damage, you can add black or red. All right, we are out of ramp, and of course, you know, if you want to do some budgetary swaps for that, there are always easier, cheaper ones. I have those in the maybe board for you in the budgetary considerations. All right, and of course, in the description I will put a link to this deck and Architect. Yes sir, yes sir. All right, Blood Artist. We have just a couple life gainers in here. For 2, whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So we can do a little bit of life management in case things get a little out of control. All right, whenever Zulaport, Cutthroat, or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Yeah. All right, we are in graveyard play. Animate Dead. Oldie but goodie. Enchant creature card in a graveyard, and it's a graveyard, not your graveyard, so any of them. Whenever Animate Dead, I'm not even going to read through this. Basically, it's a reanimate, but instead it gets the enchant part, and it comes in with a -1 power. All right. Carrion Feeder. Carrion Feeder can't block. Sacrifice creature, put a 1/1 counter on Carrion Feeder. So this thing, depending on what you got going on the board, can become insanely big really, really quickly. What a great sack creature. Carrion Feeder. And it's only an uncommon. I believe its original origin is way back. Yeah, Scourge. I thought so. It's all the way back in Scourge. I like that artwork more. All right, Reanimate, like I was saying. It's a 1-drop. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. So in the comments, if you've run Reanimate and you ended up pulling just a ridiculous card out of your opponent's graveyard, put it in the comments what it is. I mean, did you Reanimate like a Blightstep or just something super janky like a Behemoth or what? What was it? Tell me what it was. Tell me what it was. I want to know. Sir Conrad the Grim. I suppose it's Sire. Sire Conrad the Grim. This is at a Zendikar Rising. Yes, indeed. No, it's not. Yeah, it's Throne of Eldraine. I thought so. Yeah. Must have been reprinted. Wow, this thing was reprinted and I didn't even notice. Yeah, I guess so. All right, Sir Conrad the Grim. It's a 5-drop whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard. Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is just great. Oh, and for 2, each player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. So this is just a very fun card. You might want to start milling them whenever things end up in the graveyard, or you reanimate. I mean, it's just a fun card to have in there. This one is actually completely swappable. I mean, it's not essential in this build. It's just a really fun, pretty decent, powerful card for these kinds of mechanics we're talking about. All right, we are into draw now, and we can't talk about draw in black without talking about Dark Confidant. Human Wizard 2/1 drop. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put the card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. And Demonic Tutor. All right, of course we're gonna run Demonic Tutor. And of course, if you don't have this for budgetary reasons, you can always run another type tutor like Diabolic Tutor, etc., etc. Search your library for a card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. Such a great, fabulous card. All right, Diabolic Intent. This is the same thing, but you sack a creature and also put one into your hand. Gamble in Red. What an interesting one. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, discard a card at random, then shuffle your library. So you go fetch what you need, and hopefully you don't have to dump it right out of your hand. But, you know, the more cards you have in hand, the less likely you're going to have to dump the very card you wanted to go get. Necropotence. We're running this one instead of Phyrexian Arena, but by all means you could run Phyrexian Arena if you have budgetary concerns for this particular super janky crazy black card. It's a 3 black enchantment. Skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Pay 1 life. Exile the top card of your library face down. Put that card into your hand at the beginning of your next end step. I'm not going to belabor what this card does. Hopefully you're already familiar with it. But just wanted to point out that this means you can draw as many cards as you want. You just have to pay a life per card you draw. And of course, if you don't have a Reliquary Tower down on the playfield, you're going to have to dump whatever is extra past those 7 that you normally can have in your hand. So that's just something to keep in mind when you determine how many cards you want to draw. All right, Skull Clamp. Woo, this is going to be dealing and interacting with those 1/1 tokens that we're going to be building all over the place. Equipped creature gets +1/-1. When a equipped creature is put into a graveyard, draw 2 cards. Yes, lovely, lovely, lovely. Now, Vampiric Tutor. This thing is great. The only thing that isn't quite as cool is that it goes at the top of your library instead of your hand, but it does only cost you 1 and cost you 2 life to go fetch a card in your library. Wheel of Fortune. The creme de la creme of red in draw. All players must discard their hand and draw 7 new cards. What I love about Wheel of Fortune is that they don't know it's coming. You know, and that is just so fun. So you can get rid of all of your hand and then finally, boom, hit this, and then whatever they're holding back, they got to dump. That's so fantastic. And of course, you can run the other wheel if it's a budgetary situation. Yagma Thran Physician. I put this under draw because that is one of the things it does, but it actually is pretty versatile if you're not familiar with Yagma Thran Physician. He's got protection from humans. Meh, okay, whatever. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. Discard a card, proliferate. Yes, this thing is pretty bananas. All right, we are into removal. Bedevil, black, red, destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Chaos Warp, the owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. So anything that's super persnickety and just keeps sticking to the battlefield and is indestructible, etc., etc., etc. It's any permanent on the battlefield. So that's pretty cool. And then you cross your fingers and you hope that they draw a land. All right, you need that reset button. Damnation is going to do it for you. Destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. What a fabulous, cool staple in black for removal. Deadly Rollick, right out of Commander 2020. Love this. I have auto-included this in almost every black Commander deck I have. I say almost auto-include. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. I love mana costing 0 on any spell. That is just so incredible. Exile target creature. I love the fact that Deadly Rollick is exile and not destroy. What a fantastic card. All right, we have been talking about removal a lot and sacking. Well, this one is super janky Jankosaurus. Dictate of Erebus. Jankosaurus. I like that. I'm going to use that again. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. And it's got flash. I love the fact that it has flash. Now, it costs you 1 more than the other Death Pact or Graveyard Pact. But, man, for 5, I love that it has flash. Dreadbore, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Alright, Grave Pact, like I was saying. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. And I love that it's each other player. That is just so wonderful. All right, last one standing. This is where you need a serious reset. It's choose a creature at random, then destroy the rest. So you got opponents that have gone wide, and you're like, oh man, I am just having a bad day. Put down last one standing, and only one creature's left. Love it, love it. And it could be your creature, if you have one. All right, Rakdos Return. X, black, red. Rakdos Return deals X damage to target opponent or planeswalker. That player or that planeswalker's controller discards X cards. This is just a nasty, nasty spell, and I love what it does. I mean, to be able to not only hit them for lots of damage in the face, but then also have to discard their cards. That's so funny. And it only costs you 2 at the base. So, pretty groovy. Terminate! I love this. It's a black-red, destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. Vandal Blast. Destroy target artifact you don't control. And of course, its overload is for 5. And you can do that to all artifacts you don't control. Good. Tasty, tasty, tasty. All right, we're into shenanigans. And that's Captivating Crew for 4. For 4, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Then if you have any of those previous cards, creature cards that we've been talking about that can also do the sack mechanic, you steal something, you sack it afterwards. It's a mighty good pirate. Arr. Deflecting Swat. Almost, dare I say, an auto include in red, maybe. Okay. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. You may choose new targets for target spell or ability. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I love that. You can do some serious shenanigans against blue and control as well, because you can choose new targets for target spell or ability, so you can redirect it to itself, you can redirect it elsewhere. It's just fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Mass Mutiny! Should I do this in a pirate voice? Yes, I think I will. For 5, for each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature that player controls until end of turn. I can't do it anymore. Tap those creatures. They gain haste until end of turn. Lovely, lovely, lovely is all I'm going to say. Oh, this is some serious shenanigans. When we did spoilers on this for Commander Legends, I read it again, and just thought, wow, overpowered, auto include in black. At least for me. Opposition Agent. It's 3-drop flash. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. And you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. So the reason I have this as a serious consideration and or an auto include in black is because when you're playing Commander, as you probably already know, people are going to be searching their library, and usually for stuff that they really want. So you take control of what they're searching and you choose what it is, and then you can play it. 2 thumbs up plus another thumb if I had a third hand. Third hand. We're not going there. All right, Puppeteer Click. Or is it Cliche? Click. We're going to stick with Click. It is a 3 black fairy wizard for 3/2. It's a flyer. When Puppeteer Click enters the battlefield, put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste at the beginning of your next end step. Exile it. And it's got Persist. Oh, which makes this even cooler. Which makes me not care that this costs 5. I mean, 5 seems a little spendy for this, but the fact that it has Persist and it means that you can use it again. If it dies, it comes back to the battlefield with a -1/-1. That is just fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And of course, with our sack mechanics we got going, so we steal something out of their graveyard, and before this thing triggers and gets exiled, you sack it. All right, now for the combos. We have Dual Caster's Mage comboed up with Twin Flame. So Dual Caster's Mage is whenever Dual Caster Mage enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new target for the copy. And Twin Flame has the Strive mechanic, which isn't quite as important, but that is choose any number of target creatures you control. For each of them, put a token that's a copy of that creature onto the battlefield. Those tokens have haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So this just means infinite amount of mages, which is pretty bajanky jank fun. And this, of course, Twin Flame can combo up with a couple of the other cards as well. So that is just a fantastic combo that gives them all haste, and you can swing with infinite dual caster mages. Wow, wow, wow. All right, so the next combo is Godo, Bandit, Warlord, comboed up with Helm of the Host. So when Godo, Bandit, Warlord enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment, which would be Helm of the Host, card, and put it onto the battlefield. If you do, shuffle your library. Whenever Godo attacks for the first time each turn, untap it, and all samurai you control. After this phase, there is another additional combat phase. And of course, Helm of the Host is at the beginning of combat on your turn. Create a token that's a copy of equipped creature, which is Godo, of course, except the token isn't legendary. If equipped creature is legendary, that token gains haste. So that token then just starts it all over again. So you have infinite Godos with Helm of the Host in play. Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker comboed up with Zealous Conscripts. So this is just one of those things where you get Kiki Jiki out, or vice versa. You have Zealous Conscripts. Basically, you have both out. And Zealous has haste. When Zealous Conscripts enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent until end of turn. Untap that permanent. It gains haste until end of turn. And of course, you're going to grab Kiki Jiki with it, and it's put a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control onto the battlefield. That token has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the end step. So you just basically you start grabbing it, create a token, then you grab Kiki Jiki again, and then you just keep making more and more and more and more and more, and then you swing with all of them. What a crazy combo. So 3 combos that are pretty amazingly fun, and if you're able to trigger them off, make them hit, that's just lots and lots of fun. All right, well, that makes us come full circle back to the commanders. Tevesh Szat, just a great fun partner with Vail Smasher. Let me know what you think. Put some comments in the comments section. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Again, make sure that you hit subscribe if you're new and enjoy. And again, in the description will be a link to this deck. Check out our other episodes, and thanks for tuning in.